United's attack finally has inevitability, and Bryan Mbeumo is the reason it feels that way. Under the 3-4-2-1, United don't chase long passing chains. They chase the first clean window. That is Mbeumo's superpower. When the ball goes wide right to Ahmad, he doesn't sprint to meet it. He ghosts across the fullback shoulder, arriving on the blind side and finishing before the line can set. It's movement over volume, timing over spectacle. His headers are guided, not hunted. His finishes are one touch by design, because the decision 2 actions earlier, where the stand, where the keeper's hips face, has already done the damage. And it repeats: serve early, attack the corridor, cash the chance before defenders can draw breath. That one pattern has changed how United travel, because away matches are now about striking before the stadium's energy can organize the block. The spike in confidence you feel around Old Trafford isn't a mood, it's a map. Off the ball, he becomes the press trigger. The first run shades the pivot. The second closes the center back's wrong foot, and the trap springs in the half space. Even when he doesn't win it, he scripts the next pass toward a predictable corridor. That predictability makes defending cheap for United. The back line saves meters, and transitions start closer to goal. Around him, roles simplify. Højlund pins the last line so center backs can't step. Rashford attacks outside in at the far post. Bruno chooses value rather than volume because there's a guaranteed vertical outlet every cycle. The forwards look braver, not because they gamble more, but because Mbeumo's movement deletes the bad choices. If the window's there, it's served. If it isn't, United recycle without panic and keep the rest defense intact. Watch the micro details that make the macro effect. His first touch is rarely flashy. It's soft and forward-facing, buying the half second that turns a crowd into a finish. He doesn't chase widest spaces. He owns the seam between fullback and center back, then trims his run so the finish arrives across the keeper's far hip. The technique is ruthless because the distances are short. 1 yard of separation equals 1 shot on target, and 1 shot on target equals control of a game state. United don't need 10 looks when 1 clean window is worth 3 messy ones. That's why late leads feel safer and early goals feel more likely. The team has a repeatable way to cross the street without traffic. His chemistry with Ahmad is the blueprint you show in a meeting room. Ahmad's head stays up. The ball leaves his foot before the defender sets. The cross is flat instead of floated. Mbeumo reads the hip, not the jersey. If the defender opens outward, he darts across the front. If the defender squares, he fades to the far post. The decision is made by the defender, but the outcome belongs to the runner. Switch the picture to Rashford and it's gravity. Mbeumo's near-stick attack drags one center back short, the other delays. Rashford enters the diagonal lane late and unmarked. With Højlund, it's pin and peel. One fixes the line, the other arrives untracked. 3 relationships, 1 theme. Timing beats shape. You can see the leadership without the speech bubbles. After setbacks, he claps once, points twice, and attacks the next phase as if the script can still be edited. It changes teammates' posture. Fullbacks take 1 more step. Midfielders find the bounce pass. The stadium's noise loses a few decibels. He is not a high-volume dribbler, not a clip reel step-over artist. He is a finisher who values the 2 touches that bend the night. That's why the term carry fits even when he touches the ball less than others. He doesn't play to be central to the story. He plays to write the ending. Defensively, his value hides in camera pans that usually follow the ball. He curves pressing runs so the lane into midfield is screened and the outlet is forced wide. He closes with the correct foot so the opponent receives facing the sideline, not the pitch. United's second wave knows what comes next. A predictable pass to a predictable square. so the swarm lands on time. He fouls sparingly because he arrives early. That cue-based discipline keeps United's booking count low and their legs fresher in the final third. It's also why they look less frantic under pressure. The first trap is set by a forward who understands that defense starts with direction, not collision. Set pieces and second phases are the quiet bonus. He holds the penalty spot lane instead of chasing the goalkeeper's shirt, which means United always have a delayed finisher when the first clearance pops central. De Ligt's stoppage time equalizer at Spurs only materializes because the shape remains intact after the initial ball. Mbeumo's spacing is part of that geometry even when he doesn't touch the final cross. This is the lesson. Goals you score late are rarely about emotion. They are about structure that survives the first. Block. There is a cloud on the calendar. AFCON will pull him out of the picture, and United will need to replace movement, not just minutes. The contingency is mechanical, not mystical. Automate the first window service, so the timing lives in the system, not the surname. Drill Rashford as default far post owner, while Højlund owns the near stick. Script 2 diagonal exits from goal kicks and throw-ins, so the first pass under pressure becomes a launchpad, not a turnover. Keep 2 technicians at the D on recycled crosses. Commit a delayed runner to the spot. If you bake those habits now, you don't panic later. Zoom out, and his presence changes the dressing room economy. When your finisher cashes half chances, your 6 stops forcing verticals, your 10s pick their moments, and your center backs resist the temptation to step into traffic. Momentum becomes a plan rather than a temperature. United used to need games to break open through chaos. Now they can break them on a stopwatch. 15 seconds from regain to finish. 6 passes max. 1 runner who knows when defenders aren't looking. That is how title contenders act in big away stadiums. Even when the table says you're still building, the growth areas are coachable. There are spells after halftime when the team's exits shrink and he's forced to lead longer counters. There are sequences near the touchline where he turns into pressure rather than away from the third defender. The corrections live in pre-called rotations. If he drops to receive with back to goal, the near side 10 must sprint beyond to flip the coverage. If the touchline traps are coming, the wingback must underlap to offer an escape route. These are mechanics, not mysteries. Clean the mechanics, keep the goals. Nothing in this profile screams unsustainable purple patch because the foundation is timing, not outrageous finishing angles. Decision speed, not shot volume. Separation, not collisions. United have spent years stockpiling talent. That wanted the ball, they now own a forward who wants the moment. That difference is why the attack feels inevitable rather than hopeful. It's not that everything is perfect. Away game control after the break still wobbles. Substitutions sometimes loosen the press. The left side trade-off between width and rest defense needs weekly rehearsal. But inevitability is a start. It bends bad nights into draws and tight nights into wins. In the end, this is the message to carve into a locker room wall. Make the first cross the best cross. Hold the penalty spot on the recycle. Leave 1 runner stretching the line. Defend with direction, not volume. Do those 4 things and you preserve Mbeumo's value even when he's not in the 11. When he is, you add the special sauce. The cold face in hot moments, the late run into silent space, the header that looks simple because the thinking was fast. United don't need Mbeumo to be louder. They need him to stay inevitable. And they need the system too. Remember how inevitability is made?